Wow, it's been a hot minute since I filmed, but here we are, back again and ready to throw on a full face of makeup. Starting out with the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer, the green one. I've really been enjoying this primer. I have also bought the Milk Makeup Gripping Primer, also the green one, but I have yet to try that out. While the primer sinks in, I'm going to just add a little bit of color to my brows. This is the Colourpop Precision Brow Pencil in the shade Audacious Auburn. This is a really good color if you are a redhead or ginger and you have red or auburn brows. It is a pretty good color match and it hasn't got too much red in it. It has like a slight brown tinge to it, so it doesn't make your eyebrows look too red. I have seen quite a few discussions on TikTok recently, and was it, I think, YouTube Shorts, about people, redheads, talking about their eyebrows. Some of us have brown brows naturally and some of us have red or blonde brows, and there was this like whole discussion going on about whether you should dye them if you have red or blonde eyebrows or not, and there were some of the girls were like yeah definitely, some of them were like no way. I'm not sure, but because I was born with red eyebrows and have always had them, I can't really see myself dyeing them brown, not because I think it looks weird, but I'm just used to seeing myself like this, so red it is. Next, for foundation, today I will be using the Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation in the shade 1C0. This is the Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation in the shade 1C0 Shell. My skin has cool undertones, which means that my skin has a lot of pink and rosiness in it, and my under eye area and the color of my veins is a bluish purple color, so if you are similar to me, this might be a good shade match for you. I really enjoy this foundation because I think it has a good amount of coverage. It is not too matte and definitely not glowy, and it wears beautifully. It wears really well. I have combination skin, although I'm not as oily through the T-zone as I used to be, but I would say leaning combination and more normal on the cheek area. So if you have a similar skin type to me, then this might also be a good foundation for you to check out. Just going to apply a tiny bit more where I still have a bit of redness peeking through. And just to smoothen everything out, I always like to go over my foundation with a makeup sponge. This is a very inexpensive one from the drugstore from Essence. I also just want to quickly set my brows. I am using the e.l.f. Brow Lift. This stuff is pretty sticky and I genuinely use a tiny amount of it. So as I felt like putting on a red lip today, I've decided to go more minimalistic with the eyes, and I've decided to use the MAC Pro Longwear Paint Pot in Vintage Selection. It is one of their longwear eyeshadow pots, and it has like a rosy kind of neutral champagne tone with some shimmer running through it. It's not too in your face and it's also really everyday appropriate. And I'm just going to put this on the mobile lid and blend it upwards a bit. It does have tiny little pieces of glitter in it, so if you really don't like glitter, if you only want the shimmer or the metallic look without any glitter, then this might not be the shadow for you. I was kind of on the fence about it. I think it's really pretty. I think I would prefer it if it didn't have any glitter in it, but it does, and I still like it and I still use it. Very easy to apply, very spreadable, and I haven't worn it too often yet. It's fairly new to me, and the staying power on my eyelids has been pretty good, so it holds up pretty much a full day. I haven't noticed any creasing yet, but I haven't worn it in extreme weather, and I haven't worn it for like crazy hours, crazy amounts of time, like 12 hours or so. Just gonna blend out the edges a little bit with an eyeshadow brush. This really is a very, very sheer wash of color. Okay, so now I'm gonna curl my lashes. I'm just using a very inexpensive lash curler from Catrice. What a difference curling your lashes makes, eh? Okay, now for the exciting part, eyelashes. The mascara that I have been using and absolutely loving at the moment is the e.l.f. Lash Extender Mascara in the shade Pitch Black. I've noticed since I've started aging a little bit that, you know, your lids do start to drop, and I see more and more mascara transfer, and also on the lower lash line or under the eye. And you don't get that with tubing mascaras, and this is a very inexpensive one, and I think it does a fantastic job. I just place it at the root of the lash and wiggle it upwards. One thing I have noticed about tubing mascaras, or at least it's the experience I've made with them, is I don't think that they layer well, meaning you can put on, you have to work quickly. So whereas with a lot of mascaras or normal mascaras, I find you put a coat on, then you do the other eye, wait for the first eye to dry a bit, then you reapply. And I feel like with tubing mascaras, you don't really want the lashes to dry, the mascara to dry before reapplying. Otherwise, my experience so far is it becomes pretty clumpy pretty fast. But if you do it pretty fast and you reapply the product you want to build up a little bit more intensity, then it works really, really well. And this is the effect that I get only dipping into the mascara tube once. So just reapplying, going back and forth, but not. Now, for some reason with the lower lashes, I seem to have a problem with it clumping them together more. So what I do is I apply some, and then I just take a spoolie, this is just one from Essence, and I just go through them pretty quickly after applying it. And just brush out and remove any clumps that have formed. And of course, I'm making a mess as usual, but it doesn't bother me, I'm used to it. All I do is clean it up afterwards. I haven't done my concealer yet, so it's not a big deal anyway. Okay, just gonna give that a second to dry, and then I will get rid of any smudges that have occurred. Because when wearing a red lip, there's already enough going on in the face that I've decided to opt for a more natural, little bit toned down kind of blush. I'm gonna go in with an oldie but a goodie, and I'm going in with MAC's Melba. This is a matte blush. Just to bring a little bit more liveliness back to my face. I'm already as pale as a ghost, so we do definitely need blush. I think this is a very universally flattering shade, at least on people who don't have quite so dark skin tones. But otherwise I think pretty much anyone can wear this blush. Just gonna blend that out with my foundation brush again. Blend out the edges. Yeah, much better. I've been experimenting a little bit with color correctors, and I just got a new one from Sculpted by Amy Connolly. It is the Brighten Up color corrector in the shade Fair. It has a peachy tone. I decided I wanted to try this out. Let's see how it goes. Pretty creamy with a bit of tack to it, so we'll see. Just gonna apply it with my finger. And gonna try and just keep it where I have the really bad blue-purple discoloration, which for me is also in the very inner corner of the eyes. It does seem to cancel out the purple-blue tones quite well. Just gonna blend it out with the Real Techniques medium shadow brush. Okay, so I'm gonna let that sit and just sink in and set for a bit, and I'm very excited because I did also pick up the very hyped Natasha Denona High Glam Concealer. I've used this a few times and I really like it. I like the staying power, I like the way it looks. The only thing is I think I chose a shade that is too light for me. I chose the shade RN1. And I just feel like this shade is a teeny tiny bit too light, so I did order the next shade up. And when that comes in the mail, I will be trying that out as well, and I'll do a comparison. A little goes a long way. I'm wondering now if those 4 dots on each side are maybe too much. We shall see. Gonna let it set just to get a little bit tacky, and then I'm gonna blend it out with my same eyeshadow brush from Real Techniques. And what I like to do is I like to first take the dots and blend them out downwards a bit, just because not only with aging, but just in general, most people tend to have quite a few fine lines and or wrinkles under their eyes. And the less product you place there, the less product there is to crease. So this is kind of like a technique that I started doing. Now, according to the website, as far as I can remember, and also just in general, you don't have to set the Natasha Denona High Glam Concealer, but I do like to set my concealers a little bit with powder. And I'm going to be using the Huda Beauty Cherry Blossom Cake powder. I will be using a teeny tiny amount of it, and I will just be applying the powder with the same Real Techniques eyeshadow brush that I used for the concealer. A very, very nice powder. I'm going to be using a tiny bit of the Huda powder just to set my face in general. Now to the exciting part. For the red lip today, I'm going to be using the Lisa Eldridge True Velvet Lip Color in the shade Velvet Ribbon. I have not used this yet. Very luxurious packaging. A really beautiful red with a cool undertone. I was debating on which lip pencil to use with this very bold red lipstick, and I decided to go for the NYX or NYX lip liner pencil in the shade 813 Plush Red. I don't know what it is about red lipstick, but I find red lipsticks or dark lipsticks in general really intimidating. And the weird thing is I love a red lipstick on someone else, even like for everyday wear. You do maybe just mascara, a little bit of blush and a red lip, and it's totally everyday appropriate. But for me, I don't know, somehow, I don't know what it is. I find them really intimidating. Just gonna blend out the edges a tiny bit with my pinky. Yeah, that's definitely red. Okay, now to go in with the star of the show. I don't know what it looks like on camera, but this is way brighter than I was anticipating. So tell me, I'm wondering, am I the only one who gets this intimidated by red lipsticks or bold lipsticks in general? It's kind of like, it's weird, but even putting it on kind of like makes me a bit anxious. It's so weird. Probably it's just also one of those things where practice makes perfect, and the more you try it out and practice with it and actually do looks with red lips, the more comfortable you get, but I'm definitely not there yet. Ooh, yeah, it's definitely a look. It's a very bold look. It's something that I definitely have to get used to. Let me know what you think, if you think I can pull it off. And also just in general, like redheads. I remember like growing up thinking like, oh, redheads can't wear a red lip, but I do think that that is totally untrue. But it takes some getting used to seeing it on myself. Let me know what you think. And last but not least, to finish up the look, we're going to set everything in place. Today I'm going to be using the Milani Make It Last setting spray. And this, my friends, is the finished look. I'm still feeling a little bit intimidated by said red lip. Let me know what you think, if you think I can pull it off, or redheads in general, and if you would wear a red lipstick like this. I hope if you are also of a very pale complexion like I am, that maybe you could get the one or other tip from me on products that might be good for you to pick up. Oh, and if you have any recommendations for very pale skinned people, then feel free to drop me a comment and leave any of your recommendations. I am always open and looking for new recommendations, especially for complexion products like concealer and foundation and powder. I really enjoyed our little makeup session together. I hope you had fun, and I look forward to seeing you all in my next video.